That's not right. I'm trying to show you. That's what I'm trying to show you. Welcome to Tarot Playdate number 72. Starting off good. Starting off well. Got my coffee. Hopefully you've got a cuppa or something because we're going to be hanging out here for the next 90 minutes. Welcome back to Tarot Playdate. I missed you guys. Kind of. And the only reason I say kind of is because I think many of us were together last weekend for the 4th annual Tarot-thon. I hope if you had an opportunity to watch any of the live streams live or watch the playbacks, I hope you've enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, a lot of work, and very little sleep. But it was all so worth it. And yeah, but now we're back into it. Let's get back into our regular routine. Let me say hello to some of the folks that I see here waiting. And while we do you guys even remember what the last card was? If you've been in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group, a few folks have been reminding us, but we had the Queen of Pentacles 2 weeks ago. Thank goodness she was carrying her nurturing energy with us the last couple of weeks because I feel like I needed it. But let me say hello to Chris at Elemental Cartomancy. First one in today, early. Nice to see you, Chris. Lily Valley, hello. I remember seeing you recently. I think I saw you during Tarot-thon, Lily, but are you new to Playdate this week? Corvin Tail Raven Tarot, hello, my friend. Nice to see you. And Richie, one of these days I will get this right. Longman Tarot, hello, hello. And we have Simon is driving. I'm not sure if Elle's going to be able to help with the symbols because I believe Elle is also multitasking today. But I have the book handy just in case we need to look anything up, but we all might need to bring our knowledge and understanding or intuition of the cards today. We have here Oak Mama. Hello, Melanie. Nice to see you. And let's see, lots of hellos. Everybody's socializing. Love it. Shanti Diva. Hello. Jackie Jacaranda. Hi. We have really, really chatty group this morning. I love it. Gigi Nilsson is here. Hello. Neem, Essence 818, calling out the remaining cards that we have, which are not many, let's just say. In fact, this closed out the entire Pentacles suit. So we have no more Pentacles in the pile. We have White Tree Tarot, hello, and Tarot Trainee. So Richie's predicting the Empress today. Spirit Healing Tarot, hello, beautiful self. I was going to say, I was reading what you said, hello, beautiful peeps. I felt like just saying one peep sounded wrong. And then Kim Moon Whisper, hi, Kim. Nice to see you as well. And dang it, why would the jumpy when I'm on a roll? I don't appreciate that. Scrolling way back up here. Oh, you guys are busy in here. Okay, so there we go. I think I got Patrice is here. Hello, my friend. I hope I didn't miss anyone. And then we have Pamela Ramsey and Regina Tarot. Melanie Music, that's a new name. Hello. And Kristen Louise Tarot. Gianna Gracia Tarot, hello. Tychen Light Moon is here. Scorpio Moon Spirit. So many people. Gypsy in the Forest. I'm having to speed up because now I realize a lot more people came in since I started. It doesn't mean you're less important. Trust me. I just want to get my hellos in here. Donna Riedler is here. And Debbie Aquarius Owl. And Ann Fort. I'm glad you enjoyed Tarot-thon. That is awesome. And let's see. Tarot-thon was so good. Oh, I'm so glad. It's nice to see that. Hi, Robin, Toadstool Tarot. Yeah, I know, already a week. Although really it felt like 3 days by the time I got caught up on my sleep. Let's be real. So Chris is predicting Page of Swords. So we have an Empress and a Page of Swords prediction. Sandra the Whispering Well. Hi, Sandra. Nice to see you in here. And yeah, I want to know who our first timers here are today because I'm wondering if some people found me because of Tarot-thon and found us. And then let's see, scrolling. Oh, Elle's got the book handy. Oh, you are a multitasking maven. I don't know what word I wanted to use. Just and hopefully, D Lady is here. Hi, D. Do I see? So we have like at least 2 of our prize winners from Tarot-thon in here today. All right, Melissa M. Hello. Okay, if I missed anyone, I promise it was accidental. But wow, we have quite a group in here already. And I think we're probably getting close to being ready to get started. Neem thinks it's going to be 10 of cups, but I have a 1 in 7 chance. But 6 being right, but 6 out of 7 chance of being wrong. I probably shouldn't say this out loud. I'm just going to be vulnerable with you all, though. I'm really secretly hoping that the 10 of cups is our very last one. Don't you feel like that would be appropriate? Now, the tarot never plays along with what I want, but I'm just saying. Scorpio Moon Spirit says, Tarot-thon was where I was introduced to most of you. So thankful and appreciate. Oh, that's good. And welcome to your first play date. So great to have you here. All right. So since we do have some new folks here, soon you're going to have to put the cards in individual envelopes. I'd do something. I mean, it's like the shuffling is getting kind of ridiculous here with this pile of cards. Hey, Kay, nice to see you. All right. So before we get started, before we pull our card of the week, for those of you who are new, the format here is we are going to collect a list of 5 questions from folks here in the chat that we will use this week's card to answer. It kind of helps us better explore kind of the different meanings of the cards. And we typically do something that's kind of good for the collective. It maybe didn't start out that way, but that's just sort of how it's evolved. So I typically ask that if you have a question you'd like this week's card to answer, to type it in all caps for me, because then I scooch on over to the StreamYard chat, which doesn't show me when you tag me and things. So that way I can make sure to pop them up on the screen and everybody can see them. Antoinette, Intuitive Tarot and Jewelry, hello. I'm glad you enjoyed Tarot-thon as well. Nikki Roots, hello. Let's see. So Richie is showing you how it is done. So our first question, as the solstices come near, what area of changes should we be thinking of making? So are you referring specifically to the, nope, I don't want to do that, summer solstice? So as the, I got to put who this is. Norman Tarot, thank you for bringing a question. As the solstice, or is there more than one solstice? And I'm just dumb. I guess if you're northern and southern hemisphere, the solstices are different. Is that right? As the solstices come near, what area of changes should we be thinking of making? Ooh, that is a big question. That's a good one, though. All right. Oh, my gosh. You guys are so fast. Do I already have 5 in the I have at least 4. All right. Then we have from Patrice, what gifts are available for us this week? That is a wonderful question. I love that. Patrice, you always have such a lovely, loving energy. And you can tell by your question. What gifts are available for us this week? And then we have from Chris, how can we catalyze the turning of a bad experience into something positive? Ooh. Okay. I hope nothing too bad, Chris. I just about wrote Christomancy. Elemental Christomancy. I mean, I think that could stick, right? How can we catalyze the turning of a bad experience into something positive? So even if this is something where maybe you haven't had a recent bad experience, having these tips in your tool belt for later, always not a terrible idea. Let's see. So Paper Moon Tarot, that one's a little bit specific because I'm not sure all of us have money windfalls coming our way right now. But keep your question in mind as we pull this week's card, because I'll be interested to see what you think about it. Then we have from Kristen Louise, how do we manage stress and strain that interpersonal conflict can bring into our lives? Oh my goodness, between you and Chris. Okay, so we're going to be dealing with some stuff today. Kristen Louise Tarot, how do we, I'm sure we all have interpersonal conflict at some point or another. I'd love to say I could avoid that, but not so lucky. Interpersonal conflict can bring into our lives. All right, so that's 4. Interesting range of questions today. And from Oak Mama, okay, so there I have 5. And I'm sorry I skipped yours, Paper Moon Tarot. I just felt like it was a little bit specific. Kind of hard to apply to the collective, but you know, a lot of times I end up keeping those in mind as we go. So what do we need to look at for the second half of the year? Okay, so if I didn't get to your question today and you had one and it still applies next week, please feel free to bring it back because these were awesome. Yeah, okay, Richie. So I was figuring out what you were saying there. So summer in the north and winter in the south. That makes complete sense. I tend to get a little northern hemisphere focused, apparently. So it's good to remind me of that. Let's see. Lily was asking what major arcana would be best suited to embody professionally this week. So we have a mix of cards, so we may not get a major, although we do have a preponderance of majors left in the deck. We have, I think, 3 left. All right, are we ready to shuffle? See how it goes? Maharet, hello. Had to get cake first. Is it your birthday, Maharet? Is that a sneaky way of telling us it's your birthday or somebody's birthday? Because cake in my mind immediately means a birthday. All right, let's get back over here. The questions here. So as I shuffle from Richie Longman Tarot, as the solstices, both the winter and the summer, come near, what are, I wrote that funny. What are of changes we should be thinking of making? What are changes? What are changes? Well, what changes should we be thinking? What was wrong with me when I wrote that down? Okay, I hope I have that mostly right. As the solstices come near, what changes should we be thinking of making? Then from Patrice, what gifts are available for us this week? From Chris, Elemental Cartomancy, how can we catalyze the turning of a bad experience into something positive? From Kristen Louise Tarot, how do we manage the stress and strain that interpersonal conflict can bring into our lives? And from Melanie Oakmama, what do we need to look at for the second half of the year? Now, for our new folks, when I draw this card, we're not going to focus on the questions just yet. We're going to use those later when I pull out decks that I have randomly selected from my collection to look at alternate versions of the card. So we're just going to focus on our initial impressions and understandings and meanings of these cards as we start. And you'll start to see how it goes because we have a lot of tarot play date. What's the word I want? I keep wanting to say rebels, but that's not right. We have a lot of old hats. No, experienced play daters. All right, my friends. I'm going to quit gabbing and I'm going to start pulling cards. So what changes? What gifts are available? How can we catalyze the turning of a bad experience? How do we manage the stress and strain? What do we need to look at for the second half of the year? All right. And this week's card. Ooh, I've been wondering when this baby was going to show up. Did anybody predict this one today? I'm not sure we did. All right, so let's see. Tell me what you think. What's your first impression? Are you happy to see this card? What do you think? Is this a good sign? Does this make you a little nervous? Let's see here. Chris, preponderance. I like big words sometimes, Chris. Just when people throw them at me in the chat randomly, and then I suddenly the meanings fly out of my brain. We see. We have Renee snuck in here, the tarot magician. Oh my gosh, there was so much happening in the chat while I was babbling. All right, what do you guys think? I'm going to get caught up here. I'm scrolling back through. Oh, thank you, Spirit Healing Tarot. That's nice of you to give me a hair compliment. And Jenna, nice to see you. Did I say that already? Jennifer Ball's Witch House. Thank you, Corbin. We don't know if it's Maharet's birthday. Kay says, in my mind, cake means I want it. As the solstices come near, what changes should we be thinking of making? So let me make... Yeah, okay. I had that right. I have it fixed now, Reggie. Thank you. And let's see. I'm scrolling. I need to manage. I thought somebody was saying something about what they need to manage, but that was chatty. All right. I need to get caught back up to where you guys... Regulars. That was the word I wanted. Tarot Playdate regulars. All right. So Simon's coming right forth with a meaning here. Moderation in all things. Absolutely. Oak Mama says it fits for the solstice. Sandra says, it's okay. Are you meaning the card? Like, so Sandra's very balanced in her reaction to this card. Richie also said moderation in all things. Kristen Louise, alchemical change. Patrice said, ooh, good one. I need some temperance this week. Oh, this is a stalker for Scorpio Moon. Corbin says, one of my favorite cards in the deck. It's becoming a favorite of mine, too. And I'm sure you can imagine why. Let's see. Now let me scroll back down. I'm doing this all out of order today. Apparently, I've forgotten how to play date, I guess. Robin says, "Come see, come saw." Right, getting that balance, kind of like Sandra there. The queer card for anyone who saw my Tarothon session. Yes, that's right, Corbin. Been seeing it a lot this week on Simon's page. Yes. So in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, every week there's a card of the week and everybody posts all their favorite and different depictions of the card. And this last week it was Temperance. So today is actually the last day for Temperance. So how fitting that we have it today before we move on to the devil in the Facebook group. Richie sees mixing of cocktails. I mean, right? Little mixology happening here. And perfect for Pride. Yes. Oh, that reminds me. Thank you, Corbin. I did want to say before my chat jumped on me there is happy Pride Month. June is that for us. I mean, I think we should all be proud and happy every day, but this is an extra time to celebrate the, I want to say, like, just the love and the bravery and just really recognizing how important it is for people in the LGBTQIA plus community to feel loved and supported and accepted and proud, just proud of who the heck you are, we are, right? All right, Chris said, everything for Temperance, everything in moderation, including moderation. Good point. Scorpio Moon Tarot says, I like this card. Reminds me of balancing my emotions, which is a huge chore for my empathic self. It can be tricky. Balance and patience. Yes. Balance is always the key word that comes to mind for me right away when I see this card. There's a few cards in the deck that do that, but this one in particular, I think. Let's see here. So a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I want to say it sing-song because I feel like that sounds the most right. Kay says, I'm finding it often difficult to find good balance these days. So much to take into account before we even go out our front door, the C word. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely had to be a lot more cautious, a little bit slower to move. We have to kind of balance, right, the safety with comfort, with being able to move through the world in some kind of way, right? There's been a lot we've had to moderate. Donna says, balance. Yes, I do, Sandra. I mean, I've even got the scales back here to highlight it. And then Simon said, don't overdo things. It is about the balance after all, right? Oh, good job doing the text to speech. I appreciate you still participating as long as you drive safely, Simon. Thank you, Nikki. I am. I'm going to get my flow going here pretty soon. And then we get, let's see, the middle path from Ann Fort. So moderation between extremes, right? And well, we'll talk more. We're going to take just so you guys know, in fact, since I'm taking a quick pause here, let me get our melanated version. So I like to show the melanated classic tarot version of our cards. Where's Temperance? There it is. Such a beautiful card to look at. We are going to take a nice close-up look, and we're going to dive, again, for those who are new, deeper into the symbology that we see in the card. And there's going to be a lot to dive into with this one, I think. Gypsy in the Forest said harmonize, balance, moderate. Oh my gosh, I'm like 3 minutes behind. Oh, you predicted it. Even though it was 3 minutes ago, I hadn't got there yet. Yes, very, very timely. Robin says, oh, perfect card. I'm meeting friends at a bar later. Oh, getting out into public. See, that moderation is starting to happen. Emily's Tarot Magic. Hello. Oak Mama was also reminding me about the melanated. Jackie reminding me about the melanated. Kristen Louise. I did it, you guys. I didn't forget. But if I had, I wouldn't have, right? You guys got me. Let's see. Pamela says focused intent. Okay, that's an interesting way to think about this card. I like that. Seriously, Donna, how dull our world would be without diversity. Exactly. Thank you for that. Melissa says this card makes me think of patience and slowing things down. I love that. And this is true too. Simon says we are more productive when in a peaceful state of mind. Yeah, when we get ourselves all frantic and stressed, then we just end up running around in circles and we do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but never actually get anywhere, right? If we can kind of slow our thoughts, slow our roll a little bit, and approach things a bit more deliberately and methodically, we can get a lot further oftentimes. Emily loves this card. Sandra finally got this deck. Oh, good. Oh, Lily's kind of thinking about our questions for the solstice. Wait for the sunsets. We need patience for the longest day. Oh, I love it when the days are longer. Again, here in the Northern Hemisphere. White Tree Tarot says, one of the meanings I see in temperance is compromise. Maybe this is not the best solution you wish for, but it's the result nonetheless. Right? We don't always get exactly what we want. Maybe a balance of all of that, Toadstool. Oh, I'm not sure what Robin is balancing there. I might have missed that. There's a Scott's in here. Did I see a Scott and somebody telling him he's not dumb? I'm sure you're not dumb, Scott. Oh my goodness. I think I'm seeing all of the chat and yet I find out that I am not. All right, let's keep going here though. I don't want to get too caught up in that. So Emily says, I always love being able to transmute energies with this card if they feel stagnant or not so positive. Yeah, kind of getting things flowing again, right? Kristen says, putting boundaries on your passions due to the first symbol on the chest, right? Oh, we're going to get into that too. Oklahoma says, it reminds me of a mixture of two materials to create something new and greater than the two, like tempering chocolate. Yeah, right. And it's like that whole concept of alchemy and turning things from, changing states from one thing to another. Kay loves the longer days as well. Emily says, being able to sit with all kinds of emotions, even if we don't feel so comfortable with them at first. Oh, okay. Scorpio Moon Spirit is Scott. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I didn't put 2 + 2 together there, so now I'll know. And then Aaron Davis, hi Aaron, says, with Temperance, I hear the song Earth Angel or Heaven is a Place on Earth. Okay, all right, I like that. Now I've got an earworm. The alchemical process. Yes. Did I get caught up? Okay, sorry if I missed anything that skipped due to me kind of working to get caught up. So we talk about the balance, we talk about kind of the moderation, the alchemical process. Are there any other kind of general meanings that you think of before we dive into the specific symbols in the cards? Although there is a lot to work with here, so I want to make sure we have enough time to do that. And while you gather any last thoughts, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. That's much needed. Chris says, sometimes we need to disregard extremes in recognition that they don't represent the majority, right? It can be really easy to take hard, extreme positions on things. But a lot of times, do you feel like we're doing that? It's kind of like, in order to get exactly the right balance, and I always kind of joke about like trying to balance the scales, right? Trying to balance this flow of water between the cups. It's like you got to pour into one and pour into the other. And it's like, it is extreme until you can get centered into the flow. Or like with scales, it's like you put a little weight on this side and the scales tip a bit this way, and then they tip a bit this way. So if they've been this way for a really long time, and I can think of some things going on in the world that feel that way, then we see sometimes people in trying to balance out and shift things, swing all the way to the other end. And maybe we go a bit far. The idea is that by playing with those dynamics, we eventually get things to sort of settle into the middle. And so sometimes that extreme swing is necessary in order to find that balance, but it should be the road to finding the balance, not the end goal, if that makes any kind of sense. All right, so let's see what else you guys were saying here. Anyone else singing, Belinda? Heaven is a place on earth. Oklahoma says, overcoming duality. Emily says, makes me think of some of the elements, how they are thought of as dangerous, but actually how we need certain elements and temperatures, for instance, to create precious metals. Yes. Gianna Gracia says fluidity, also moderation. Patrice says it's so interesting that temperance lands between death and the devil, right? And thank goodness it does, because I feel like after dealing with if you think about it in the journey, right? You go through this whole transformational experience, and maybe the devil is things swinging to a bit of an extreme. Although I would hope we found some level of balance, but then maybe we dip a little into the dark side. Then we have our transformative experience again with the tower, which I got today for my daily card draw. So we'll see how the rest of today goes. Kristen says it's like pushing a slinky down the steps. People remember slinky. Yeah, it's like where it goes end over end, right? To make its way down the steps. Elle says an angel on earth. Angel is only a figure in the picture. No way around the need to get to grips with one's heavenly potential. Higher self, unrealistic idealism. So in other words, you're saying there's no way to get around, no way around the need to get to grips with one's heavenly potential. Okay. An adjective for the name of my channel. I try to keep it temperate around here, let me tell you. Donna says, like in chemistry, take two dangerous chemicals, sodium and chlorine, to make harmless, ordinary, and useful salt, right? Sometimes things are better when they are mixed together. Emily says, it's interesting getting this card ahead of the Gemini solar eclipse, especially with Mercury in retrograde, conjunct the moon and sun. Mercury in retrograde. Oh, wait. The new moon, along with Venus and Gemini, is processing all that we have experienced over the past few months in an intuitive way. I needed to get to the end bit there. I was like, where's the punchline? Let's see. Emily also says, all the information we have gathered is now available for us to assimilate and bring into the light in a way that makes sense for us. Tarot Trainee says, hi, by the way. Sometimes I see manifestation to bring together. Oh, I like that. Yep, and that's what I was thinking too, Scott, the tower right behind the devil. And then, you also got, oh no, this is Spirit Healing Tarot, also got the tower today. Oh my gosh, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it? Dee says, we are all works in progress, not perfection. We are enough now. Elle says, Elle's diving into symbols already for me. Hold on, Elle, hold on. I'm going to come back to that. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't have any other comments. Okay, so before I get into what Elle's talking about here, let's take a nice close-up look at the card here. And let's see if you see anything that you haven't maybe seen before when we take a nice close-up look. So earlier we had reference to the symbol on the angel's chest there. We have this water flowing back and forth. We have our flowers here on the one side, and then on the other, we have the mountains. The sun is rising or setting. What do you think? And a path leading back that way. Then this is always a real key component of this card, I think, where we have 1 foot in the water, kind of in our emotions, and 1 foot on the land, perhaps a bit more grounded, which helps us find that moderation and that temperance. Let's take a close-up look. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, I guess. Okay. When we look up close at the melanated, we'll see a little something in the sun here that I didn't notice before. But now that I see it in this card, right, there's like that crown in the back. So is that like some attained higher power? What do we think about that? There's this crown here too. I didn't notice that before. I just saw it as a sun. But now I see the crown in that image as well. Okay, that was my mind-blowing moment for today's card. All right, so then Elle had brought to us, so the blue mountain. So Elle is probably bringing us from the Ultimate Guide to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Oftentimes, Simon kindly volunteers to share with us some of the meanings from the book that they give for the different symbols we see in the card. But Elle is stepping in since Simon's on the road. So the blue mountains in the back are the symbol of the marriage, according to this book, of heaven and earth, the mystery of unification which runs through this card. Seek and find your own destiny in the lifestyle that harmonizes with your personal self. Seek and find your own destiny in the lifestyle that harmonizes with your personal self. Wow, that's deep meaning, isn't it? All right, let's see what else we have here. Okay, you guys are spotting new things in the cards, so I don't want to miss that. And Debbie says, if anyone is from New England, that red triangle is the sicko sign outside Penway Park. Huh. Who knew? So do you think they got it from the Temperance card? I imagine the symbol is not just in the tarot, even though I like to sometimes tarot center things. Emily said, like Temperance, we are able to actually transmute what info we have gathered in a way that adds value for us because we can understand and process it with the new moon, the solar eclipse. Elle is not sacked. Elle is just ahead of the game. I also know that Elle is multitasking right now, so I'm impressed that we even got that meaning in here. Chris says the astro symbol for the sun on the angel's forehead. Yeah, and again, that's really highlighted more on this particular version of the card. So the astrological symbol, right? So there we have that on the angel's forehead. Here it blends in a bit with the angel's blonde hair. So I kind of really like the opportunity to see that more clearly in this version of the card. Oh, and Robin was noticing the same thing as Chris there, the sun representation on the angel's brow. And then Kristen says, that's a really weird sun. Looks like a crown or spaceship or something. So that must have been before I pulled up this one. I was like, oh, that's totally a crown, right? So Oak Mama was noticing the sun symbol on the angel's head as well. Material symbol on the angel's chest. Yep, I figured out what you were talking about there, Chris. And then Oak Mama says, are the flowers irises? That's a great question. You all know me and flowers, right? I'm not. So I just recently decided yesterday to subscribe to a subscription box called Lunarly. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but they send it out in advance of the new moon every month. And every other month it comes with a house plant. And then the off months, it comes with a candle. And so I told my very dear friend, Elle, that I was going to be getting this box. And I'm pretty sure I could hear the hysterical laughter from across the ocean about me having houseplants in my house and not killing them. So we're going to see how that goes. But maybe I'll learn a little something. So Donna was with me, never saw the crown before. Oh my gosh, now I've fallen even further behind. Simon says, it connects human will and the will of fate. It connects. Oh, what's the it, Simon? I've gotten a little behind now. Elle said, the sun, third eye, head of the angel and sun above have a similar form, intended to correspond with each other. Personal will and will of fate come together. Oh, that's what Simon's talking about. Okay, you guys are on the same page. So we're talking about the sun symbol being kind of in the place of the third eye. Okay, I didn't really think about that, but that makes a lot of sense. Aaron says, I think of the crown in the sun in Temperance as the emperor's throne on the cliffs. Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to pull this one up again just so we can, because I know a lot of us are a little blown away. Can you kind of see still? Nope. Where is it? It's on this side. Where's my face? Okay, the crown there. Let's see here. Elle says, so the gray sky in the background. So let me symbols. They're better on the different cards, right? Like this one here definitely shows the gray sky a bit better. The sun at the figure's back, a warning against unnoticed, forgotten intentions. Gray sky warns against indifference to life goals. It encourages us to adopt a neutral attitude, which makes sense when we're trying to stay balanced. And let's see. Spirit Healing Tarot says harmonizing. Love that. Robin says water seeks its own level. Now, was that in relation to something else, something said, or just kind of an observation? And then Chris said the triangle, as well as meaning fire in a capital delta Greek letter, which is used in chemistry and physics to mean change, right? And that's where I think we get that symbol of the fire element is a lot of times how I've looked at that. Aaron says Hebrew letters above the triangle on the square on the angel's chest in the Smith weight. Is that the name of God? Oh, okay. We got to get real close again on that one. Let me get the face. So right up there, can you guys see? I've never noticed that before either. Whoopsie. Above the triangle there. I don't read Hebrew, but I know Amber Lavender Moon did a whole segment on it during Tarathon. Elle says the fire wings. So we haven't really talked about these bold, brilliant wings, which are very bold and brilliant in this version. The wings exceed the limits of the image. New possibilities are always there. There is no end in sight, right? So they continue to reach outward beyond the frame of what we can see. And chat jumped again on me. There we go. Jenna's coloring in the Modern Witch coloring book while watching. Oh, I'm glad you're back to that. It's fun when you show the images in the Facebook group after that. See, this is how much faith Elle has in me. I'm telling you. Oh, Shane. Oliver and Shane, my son, will save the houseplants. Thank you, Shane. Guess who gets to water them when I'm out of town? All right, Okama, the angle of the water flow suggests that this isn't water under natural law, but force of will. Interesting. There's a lot of bridging of duality, water and land, journey and pause, etc. Yes. Scorpio Moon Spirit says, never saw the sun in the background. Okay, Elle bringing more from the book for us. So the blue water and the blue of the mountains, spirituality, mind and soul, which determines both the origin and the goal. Light blue warns against naivety and wishful thinking. Yeah, see, my cat, he's going to try and eat the plants. So I'm going to have to be real strategic about where I put them. Yeah, I see a few of you are worried about TK eating the plants. Gigi says, I think that the angel is telling you to water those plants in moderation. Oh, see, I either too much or too little. That's never good, right? Elle says, so the breastplate on the angel here, the triangle stands for femininity and spirituality. The square outside of the triangle for masculinity and matter, bringing the opposite aspects into a state of productive tension, right? But I know that we also have a lot of different viewpoints on what else that could mean, right? But I think that's an interesting way to look at that as well. And then Chris, wait, there's a crown where the sun should be, and the sun is on the Temperance crown chakra. Yes. I feel like little light bulbs going off above Chris's head right now. And I feel like you already know so much about the tarot, Chris. Let's see. Elle says the mixing or the liquefaction, contradictions are resolved and reconciled by creating a potential difference between them so that things can flow. Achieving the right state of tension and balance of opposites. Yeah, so Neem, it says Jehovah, right? Is that right? YHVH, does it really say that? Let's take a, I wonder if we see it in this one as well. I don't know if we do. Focus again. Yeah, those just have lines. Here, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you see the letters there? Anne said also the Blue Mountains, marriage of heaven and earth. Yeah. Oh, Corbin, yeah, you could take a look and let us know about the Hebrew letters. Get that magnifying glass out. Yeah, I even managed to kill a cactus. Neem, it's happened. All right. So Elle says below the poles, the land and water still unreconciled. Middle, contradictions find a relationship to each other. The flow begins. Above, unity, the third eye, and the complete set of differences, large wings. So we have kind of the land and water here in the on the bottom, right? And then the middle, the contradictions, is that the balancing aspect? And then the third eye up above with the wings. Okay, I think I get where that's going there. Oh, Corbin found it. It says, yes, it is the tetragrammaton, the name of God on the breastplate. You put the dash in there. Is that just a way to be less specific? I'm just kind of curious about that. Let's see here. D says the crown of the sun, the corona, can only be seen normally when it's eclipsed. Right. Is that like the outer ring? Is that what you mean by that? Elle says the lengthy path. So the path here the side that leads back to the mountains here. True will, life's plan. Aim, right tasks in life, which we bring to a favorable conclusion. Warning against false ideas. And then Gigi said, letters inexplicably disappearing while typing. Uh-oh. Well, yeah, Mercury is in retrograde right now. Okay, everybody agreed that it is the name of G-D. in Hebrew. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, I don't see it on the melanated either. That looks to be just lines. Okay, are you guys ready to start looking at some alternative temperance cards? I think this should be really fun. And thank you for clarifying. I thought that that was what that was. And I don't know how I should be saying it in a way that's neutral. Oh, this is very helpful. So some Jewish people believe we shouldn't write the name of God out because you're not supposed to destroy the name. So if you use the dash, it's not technically the same. Okay. Thank you for that. I've learned a lot of new things today already, and it's only 11 a.m. where I am at. Ooh, in 1 minute it'll be 11:11. All right, so my first alternative deck that I have today. So for again, anybody who is new here today, I have a like a Google spreadsheet. I know after your tarot-thon, is anybody surprised by this? Where I keep a list of all of my Rider-Waite themed decks. Like I have other spreadsheets too, but this one for Playdate. And then I just use a random number generator like I did for the prizes to pick 5 decks for the week. So the first one that I randomly selected is the Textured Tarot, which is one of my earlier tarot decks. Let's see, Erin says, it feels like the path in Temperance is leading to the pool and the path on the moon card feels like it's leading away. Oh, that's interesting. So you feel like this path, like it's coming towards you, which, so where did we come from, do you think? If it comes to the pool, I wonder. But that's interesting that you have that perspective. But it makes sense in a way because it does feel like this pool where we're at with Temperance is a destination of sorts. You say Adana. Okay. Oh, there's so much I could learn. Okay, let's look at this Temperance card. So there's this one's fun and also very appropriate for Pride, I think. I think you'll agree when you see what I mean here. So these are the backs, by the way, of the Temperance Tarot for those who maybe the Temperance Tarot. I mean, it might as well be the Textured Tarot. And here is our Temperance card in the Textured Tarot. Now, this is like a collage themed deck, so we have sort of mixed imagery here. But I love like the kind of the fiery and watery nature of the gown. Oh, are those like snakes entwined there? Interesting. So here we don't necessarily get the element with like 1 foot on land and 1 foot on water. Now I want you to take a real close-up look here at the liquid that's being exchanged in the cups here. Can you see there's a bit of a color change happening? So right up near the top cup, the silver cup, it's kind of blue grayish liquid, it looks like almost. And then it gets fiery as it gets down into the gold cup. And then we see obviously this duality in her dress as well. What do you guys think? So Anne had said with regard to the path for me is leading back to the crown, Kether, on the tree of life. Okay, did I lose you guys all with this card? Are you thinking? Maybe while you're thinking, and I know my light's a little funny. Let me see if I can get it so it's there, a little less glary. Let me tell you what it says in the book. This is not a very big book, so let's see if it highlights anything for us that might be meaningful. So here we're associated with fire. So thinking of the elemental and astrological correspondences, Jupiter and Sagittarius. Internal balance, alchemy, tempering. So this is just kind of a bunch of keywords. Finding the middle way, peace after the storm, be yourself and doing nothing. Those are some kind of interesting keywords with that. Let's see. So Anne says she shows the tempering of fire and water in her dress. Exactly. There we go. A little less glare there. Neem says, even in the dress, red and blue do make purple, and that is reflected in the middle of the dress, right? So they blend to form that color. My light keeps shifting on me. Corbin says, I like the dual color on the dress. I do too. Oklahoma says, thinking. I'm back to duality, moving towards unity. Right, again with that coming together. Yeah, so one more time, just a little bit closer because I know my light's a little funny. So you see how it is. It's blending to become that purple down the middle of the dress. Ooh, good spot on that. I'm not sure I even really noticed that. And then Kristen says, this card to me focuses on the internal work needed to blend our own extremes. Scorpio Moon says balance of fire and water in the texture tarot, I think. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Now we don't have the glare. And then D says fire and water, mixture of very different elements. Neem says two, making something new and unique. Lily says the snakes entwined. Did anybody else see that? Is that what that looks like to you as well? Ah, yes. Chris says the caduceus, that's what it's called, is a symbol of partnership and potentially compromise. Agreements being reached. A COVID-safe handshake. Not if they're entwined like that, though. And then Donna said, are those dragons? Maybe fire and water. Oh, yeah, they could be. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Yeah, they do look pretty fierce there, don't they? Other people are seeing snakes, though. So, should we get to maybe answering our first question here? So, this one was from Richie at Longman Tarot. As the solstices come near, what changes should we be thinking of making? Now, hey, how interesting for a question about the solstices, where we have two, right? The summer and the winter. And even though we're on different hemispheres, are they somewhat entwined or connected? I mean, I suppose they must be, right? Because we're all on the same planet. Something to think about. And what is the caduceus again? You know that symbol in the Two of Cups, right? So if we look at the standard RWS, it's a little bit more clear. Let me pull that out. Two of Cups. This thing right here, right? So that's the caduceus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that exactly right. So we can see here, we have that same kind of shape happening. So it was an interesting correlation there. Uh-oh. Oh, I was like, for a minute, I thought Tycon like leaned on their keyboard, but I see there that's like a pronunciation thing. Okay, they do look more like snakes when they're close up. So Dee said the path moving from the sun to the lake, fire and water, right? Are you behind Dee, or are you kind of relating this card back to that? I'm not quite sure. Scott says, I see it as I have the Two of Cups in front of me, and yes, right? So the snakes may be representative of the caduceus. Again, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Or is that what that was? Cadiusius? Oh, Cadiusius. Is that how you say it? Cadiusius? I'm just realizing what Tyke and Light Moon put in the chat for me. Hi, Lori. Nice to see you. Oh, this is more readable for me. Caduceus. Caduceus. I feel like people had told me this before. I'm sure you did when we had the Two of Cups, and it flew right back out of my head. Okay, you guys are all helping me pronounce it. Thank you. Hey, Tammy Pie. All right, so let's answer Richard's question here. As the solstices come near, what changes should we be thinking of making? So maybe we need to recenter or rebalance something. Have we gone to the extreme in some area of our life and we need to come back and find a place of moderation? Or do we need to bring another element in so that we can be more balanced and be more temperate, right? So I feel like the change doesn't need to be extreme. We don't want to swing to some far other end. The change doesn't need to be drastic. It needs to be balanced and kind of carefully monitored. So that's kind of what comes to mind for me, but I wonder if you guys have some other thoughts. Neem says, I see temperance as creating something new out of something existing, more transmuting than balancing. Okay, fair enough. So maybe it is literally the literal answer to the question, what changes should we be thinking of making, right? Maybe it is trying something new, doing something that's a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but not so far out that the water falls out of the cups, right? Any other thoughts on that? Did we lose Richie? Do you have any thoughts on this Longman Tarot if you're still here? While I take a sip of coffee And keep switching the card back and forth to try and get the light to not be crazy. We're talking about, oh, the sign on like medical vehicles. The sign on the ambulances is different. It's the rod of, I don't know how to pronounce that. Asclepius, god of healers. Yeah, I've always kind of associated it with that medical symbol. And I think when we had the Two of Cups, we did talk about that to some degree. All right. Any other thoughts? Anybody know what changes we should be making? Oh, here I've got one. I've got one from Melanie Music. Make space for something new without losing what you've already learned. Oh, I like that too, right? So still being able to integrate the knowledge that you have. We're not throwing that out. We're not starting all over. We are just integrating it. That's a great word for this. Erin says, lots of pairs of things, 2 flowers, 2 chalices, 2 wings, 2 snakes, etc. 2 is the number of balance and harmony. Good point with the numerology. And Sandy's handling some snakes right now. And Oklahoma says some ambulances have the rod, which only has 1 snake. Okay. So maybe some different medical symbols out there. Any other thoughts on this one? All right, I'm going to keep moving, but if you have thoughts on this one, feel free. I don't want the chat to die. All right, let's see what we've got here now with the Dark Days Tarot. Oh, let me turn that question off. We must have lost Richie. So this is a black and white deck, and I believe all the majors have the white background with the black on them versus the minors have the black with the white. These are the backs. It's a square deck. And I believe, I haven't worked, believe it or not, I've had this deck forever. Elle sent it to me, and you can work with it directionally. And I have not really tried to do that yet. So this is still on my to-do list. Isn't this one of your favorites, Corbin? I feel like maybe it is. Let's get Temperance here. Oh, there's a lot going on in this card. All right, let's see what's what. Oh, I like this, Donna. So thinking back to the chemistry example, neutralize the effects, any toxic energies in your life you might be having. That is great advice. Okay. All right. I showed you the backs. All right. So here is our Temperance card from the Dark Days Tarot. I love the moon phases that we see in this card. We see that in a lot of these cards, I think. Interesting that she sort of has a flower for a mouth. Lots of mountains in this card, right? So lots of, and then we have sort of the water flowing by here. Does she have an elbow in the water and an elbow on the land? I'm not sure what's going on there. Kind of these big slushy cups. Oh, is there like fish swimming in the, looks like there's creatures in the water there. All right, tell me what you guys think. Corbin says, I use this deck on every new moon. The creator is designing another deck too. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let me see if I can get this a little closer. Scooch my head over. Okay, there we go. Then I can get this a little bit closer for you to look at. Yeah, it looks like the elbows are balanced. Haley Evans, hello, Haley. 2 snakes is the wand of Hermes, the great god. 1 snake is the wand of Asclepius, associated with healings. Oh, so we're talking about the caduceus symbol that we saw. Lots of circles. Yeah, there's a lot of round going on this card. A happy little fishy. Adoring this deck, liking this deck. So does this one bring kind of a new feeling to you? Now, I find for some reason, like the flower over in place of the mouth is something that I find really interesting. What do we think about that? But this idea, this feels very cyclical to me. Maybe that's where the round comes in, right? With the moon phases kind of moving into the earthly side of things and then coming back out. There's something there. Scott says, lots of trees connecting with Mother Nature can be an element to bring temperance in our life, right? And maybe that's too with the flower, right, in the mouth. Maybe it's like integrating nature more into our lives. Oklahoma says, circles equal completion, completed cycle. Yes. Lily Valley says, this woman is confident of the phases of the moon, the ideas of the cycle. Yeah, so that definitely seems to be a theme that we're picking up on here. Now, let me see what the book says here. It's a very short little paragraph here. I don't know if it'll give us. The Temperance card distinguishes itself as a warning and a reminder. Your willful wish will manifest, but not within the timeline you've anticipated. Ooh, we need patience, folks. Your task is to integrate and balance an abundance of ideas and feelings that are crucial components to the current question. Patience must persist. See? So temperance, I oftentimes think I do tend to really lean towards the balance aspect, but I need to think more, me personally, about the patience aspect of this. And the moderation means kind of with respect to timing and pacing as well. Elle says, speaking from a place to grow or aid in others' growth. I like that with the idea of the flower on the mouth. Oh, that's cool. Chris says, does anyone else think her face looks like she is in pain? Does it look pained? With the eyes closed, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know that I see pain there. Yeah, that was a really specific message. Emily says, oh my gosh, this is literally speaking to me right now. Lily says she has a necklace of a pentagram, the protection, even if difficult. Oh, does she? Oh, she does. Oh, I didn't even notice that, Lily. Do you see that right above, right below? There we go. Right there above the mountains. Oh, good spot on that. Chris says rose is a symbol of both beauty and pain. Melissa says, I get the sense that she's leaning into the process. Oh, yes, I can totally see where you're getting that. Okuma says her eyes are closed. She is in this world, but mentally somewhere else, right? Or maybe it's like turning inward as well. Anne's like, nope, don't connect with this deck. Maharat says there's a saying in German that says speaking through flowers. It means communicating something without blatantly spelling it out. Okay, so subtlety may be required sometimes. Erin says the flower on the mouth can be tempering your words, grace and patience in all your ways. Oh, I love how you guys are bringing so much meaning to that, because that was really a focal point for me when I first saw this card. Emily says, I see a lot of womb healing in this, so perhaps about the journey of manifesting and creation. Patrice says, peaceful and contemplative. I love that card. Must see more of this deck. All right, so let's see if we can answer the second question here. I always think I'm going too slow or too fast, but so Patrice asks, what gifts are available for us this week? So right away, I feel like perhaps that gift of patience, of being able to speak truthfully to someone, but in a kind and considerate and compassionate way, right? Being able to deliver those words with sort of grace rather than with harshness, right? We don't see a bunch of thorns around her mouth, right? With the flowers. So maybe being able to communicate in a loving way and maybe deliver some of the more difficult truths, right? With the temperance, it's not all easy, but being able to do so in a way that allows the message to be received, perhaps. Or perhaps the gift is us being able to receive a difficult message in a loving way. So that's one thing I could see with this particular card. What do you guys think here? All the temperance cards so far have flowers. That's true. That has been an element in all of them. Okuma says contemplation, peace, grace, kindness, and confidence. Born of these may be the gifts this week. And then Lily says it's like she plants seeds the last season and the flower blooms now. True. And again, that's where that patience element comes in, right? What do you think, Patrice? Are you seeing gifts in this particular card? Not to put you on the spot. I know it's your question. We're all here to help answer it. Emily says, I see the opportunity to listen to the universe, the divine as well as others, and to be able to hold ourselves with compassion as we move through whatever emotions come up for us as truths revealed. Patrice says, I like that, Jen, but I'm also thinking of finding a balanced way to re-enter the world post-pandemic. right? So testing the waters a little bit is kind of the word that comes to mind. Don't rush into the world and pretend like everything's okay. It's finding that way to sort of safely, and the word integrate keeps coming up with this card, right? To safely integrate into the world around us. Okama, she's not worried about her water bowls. She doesn't seem to be. No, she seems to have a firm grasp on them, I think. Well, feel free to let me know any other thoughts you have on that or Patrice's question. I'm going to go ahead and get our third deck out because, oh my gosh, we've already been here an hour. Where's this go? Where does this go? What did I do with my other card? Sorry, I need to make sure I have them handy so I can take pictures of these later. All right, so the next one I have is more of a Rider-Waite clone. This is a deck that I've had for a couple of years now. It's a collaborative deck, but you sure wouldn't be able to tell by looking at it, honestly. It's called the Fate Shifters Astrology deck. So I imagine oftentimes this sticks really close to the original imagery, but we shall see what we see. And I say that, of course, and then I'll be wrong this one time. No, I'm not that wrong this time. Oh, how did I never notice this crown, people, in the sun? Like, how did I just not? Because now I'm feeling, the more I see it, the more it's so obvious to me. Here's the backs of this, by the way. And here is the Temperance card in this particular deck. So we definitely get the sun on the forehead. We have the symbol on the chest. These wings are gorgeous. The cups. I mean, could the crown be any more obvious? Did anybody else hear that in Chandler's voice just now? That's really pretty. I think that's really pretty. See what you guys were saying. Let's see. Dee had said, to answer the question, I think temperance is a messenger from the gods or from heaven to earth. Okay. Lily had said, I love the idea to let masks and show or be able to take masks off and see our mouths. Yeah, maybe the flower, though, is like, still mask up just to be safe. You never know. And then Patrice had said, regaining our balance as we rejoin friends and travel outside our home. I've been spending more time outside as I feel safer. Oh, that's lovely. And then Haley had said, the moon also has a big influence on the tide, so timing might be a big focus of that card. Oh, that's a good point with all the water. Let's see. Well, I'm not sure which deck you're referring to now. This is called the Fate Shifters Astrology deck. I want to say it came from somewhere in Asia. Yeah, this is literally called the Asia edition. So it has a deck of 78 cards, and then it also has, sorry, the lighting's a little weird, but it also has like a whole set of astrology cards, which those I don't really connect with. But I feel like the tarot portion of the deck is really beautiful. And could I be wearing any more clothes? Exactly, Emily. You heard my tone. Yeah, for the crown and one no one saw, right, Jenna? Right? I mean, we all have epiphanies together, right? So I'm not sure that this brings anything particularly new. Do you get any kind of a particular feeling from this deck? We probably should just get straight into the question, but let me know if you have anything specific that sort of jumps out at you with this particular card. And then we'll answer Chris's question. How can we catalyze the turning of a bad experience into something positive? Ooh, do we think Temperance is doing that literal answer thing here for us today? And let's see, Donna said, Temperance says, take a measured approach to getting back to normal, not going to extreme. So answering Patrice's question from earlier, Corbin says, it's a really lovely version. Yeah, I think it is. This is true. Like the water is very calm and peaceful. I will say, when I look at this version of the card versus maybe something like this, right? This feels much more fiery and active. And this one feels, why with the light? I have the same light every week and it does something different every time. But this one feels very calm to me. I do feel patient. I feel more relaxed when I look at this particular version. I don't know if that's anything anyone else can relate to. Patrice says, I noticed the floating crown over the mountains. Yeah, I mean, they make that really stand out in this particular, where is it, version of the card. I mean, much harder to miss in this card, I think. Clearly, I haven't used this deck enough because I feel like I just would not have missed it if I had. The flowers are different though. St. John's wort. Okay, yeah, they don't look like the lilies in this one. Well, they do look kind of similar as these. Wait, these? These? They're kind of similar. I don't know. It feels kind of otherworldly in a sci-fi way. Oops, let me bring that close again. Why with the light? That's driving me crazy. But not necessarily. So it's like apocalyptic, but not bad. Yeah, it's definitely an art style with this deck for sure. Oklahoma says this angel feels like a test on the road to that crown. They look like daffodils. Oh, the flowers. Oh, daffodils. Yes. So what do we think about answering Chris's question here? How can we catalyze the turning of a bad experience into something positive? I mean, the word catalyze is really appropriate for this card, right? Because it's basically like, yeah, you have to make that happen. You have to make the conscious choice to balance out the negative with the positive. Where can you find the gratitude? Where can you find the lesson? A lot of times that is, and this is just pulling a lot from personal experience, but finding that way toward temperance. Whereas if you experience something bad, the first thing to do is feel crappy about it, right? It's like, okay, this is crappy. I don't like this. I feel terrible, right? And to get stuck in that place. But if we can say, okay, this feels crappy. I don't like how I feel, but there is a lesson I can carry forward that I can turn into something positive. Being able to take that journey a lot of times can bring us to a more temperate and moderate place with our feelings around whatever that particular issue is, right? Or being able to balance it out with something that's like, okay, yeah, it's really, and I'm going to just use a really mundane example, right? I can't go on vacation maybe, right? And I'm hoping that I get to go on vacation. But if I can't go on vacation, I can't fly over to Europe like I want to this year. But if I still take that time off and still have an opportunity to recenter myself, maybe I can find the positive in a staycation, Again, very mundane, probably not very accurate example, but hopefully you kind of get where I'm going with that. We really do need to. I need a lesson. I do, Melanie. It's true. Chris said, I feel like the answer is just to be patient, which isn't the answer I wanted. I feel like I'm being schooled by the tarot. Oh, yeah, sometimes it just reaches out and slaps you in the face. Let me tell you. Anne says, simply look for the positive and choose to see the middle path rather than dwell on the negative. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going. In Scorpio Moon Spirit, we have the power to turn it into something positive, right? We have to control our mindset sometimes, and sometimes we have to make a real concentrated and sometimes difficult effort to reshift our perspective. Scott says Spirit Healing says we could ask for help from that angel. I'm getting Scorpio Moon and Spirit Healing. I'm so sorry if I mix things up there. I'm trying not to do that. Melissa says, her reflection in the water reminds me of self-awareness. Perhaps reflection on our actions can help us catalyze our bad experience to better moderate ourselves for the future. That was good. And Chris says, the swapping of the sun and the crown feels relevant. Maybe the key to regaining that joyful feeling is in our connection to the rest of the world. So the key is to connect and not shut people out, which can be very easy to do when we're feeling particularly sensitive or vulnerable. It's like we just want to throw up all the walls. We want to tuck into our shell. And sometimes that doesn't get us to a place where we feel better. Oklahoma says we can catalyze by setting the intention to set aside emotions for a moment and look at what we can learn from the situation. Yes. Emily says, I think it's about making the choice to deconstruct long-standing limiting beliefs and believing in our own ability to choose what we want, know that we can change our minds. And Elle says, find people with shared lived experiences, find a validating, uplifting space. You need to be seen, held, and uplifted. So that's kind of embracing your feelings and making sure that you feel supported in the feelings that you're having. It's not always about immediately shifting the mindset, right? We have to have an opportunity to feel the things we need to feel so that we can heal from them properly. Patrice says, have to overcome the obstacles of the mountains to claim the crown that represents our desires. Yes. Kristen says, make lemonade out of lemons. Shake it up with some vodka. I mean, if you want a little extra fun, that's going to help. And let's see here. Anne says, go for a paddle, pick some flowers, and mix a cocktail. I mean, that sounds fun. I'm in. I'm in. Totally in. Although, just tell me which flowers to pick. Erin says, the negative cup being mixed or tempered with the positive cup, but nothing is left out. All is incorporated, acknowledged, and accepted. The result is something new. Yes, yes, yes. And then Donna says, approaching the situation in a mindful way, acknowledging what happened, but not being overreactive to it, letting it pass through you without causing you harm. Lots of good advice there, Chris. Okay. We as a group got into that question for sure. All right. So my next deck, man, I say this every week, but sometimes I get such an interesting variety randomly selected. That's the thing about randomness, right? I have hold on. I'm going to fix this. This is driving me crazy. I'm going to see if that's a little better. Not really. This is maybe if I come over here. So the Daniloff Tarot. I don't know what is going on. I think it's the daylight outside or something. I'm sorry, guys. All right. So let's see what the Daniloff Tarot has to show us for Temperance here. And I'll just keep getting it up close. Oh, another good Pride one. Lots of rainbow happening in this deck. I love it. This is the 4th edition of this deck, by the way, for those who have maybe seen it. Get back over to my chat here. Give you a nice close look of the Daniloff Temperance here. So we still have the sun symbol on the forehead. I love that we have sort of the rainbow, but notice the changing of the colors of the rainbow between the cups there. We still have the symbol on the chest. Look at this. So this balancing literally on the earth in the water is almost what that looks like. Very interesting. Yeah, she does have some toes on her. That is for sure. Okay, the lighting is better on this side, so we'll keep it over there. Cocktails and tarot. Heck yeah. Dee had said, temperance is resourceful and alchemical, changing or combining difficult energies. Yes. Let's see here. What do you guys think? This cracks me up. Very true. I mean, how else is she going to hold on to that big blue ball there with her toes? Beautiful. Yay. What do you guys think? Anything new that kind of, oops, let me get rid of the toes comment here. Is there anything in particular that sort of stands out for you with this card? This archway behind too, right? It's like it kind of reminds me a little bit of the High Priestess in a way, right? Where there's kind of this, I don't know why, but I mean, the archway it doesn't look like an archway until you get to the top. And then we have like the stars and the universe behind, which I think is kind of cool. Okay. Play nice, lighting. Play nice. Dee says, we lost the red wings and we gained the red hair. True, but we still got the red in there, right? Okama says, seems to be wearing a mask. Feels like a combining of all the elements. So, I mean, you already have the Daniloff. Why did I think you were still on the hunt for that? Or is it just a particular edition that you're looking for? Kim says, beautiful card. So we're all kind of loving and looking at the card. Scorpio Moon Spirit says, balancing your world and taking effort to manifest that by standing on the earth, right? So the pink bow thing, that stands out differently. I mean, this one has just a real soft touch to it, even softer maybe than the one before, which I thought was really calming. Let's get into, oh my gosh, okay, I got to move it along. So we're going to go straight to the question here for Kristen. How do we manage the stress and strain that interpersonal conflict can bring into our lives? Does anybody else have the word compromise jumping right into their head the way that I do? Right? How do we manage the stress and strain that interpersonal conflict can bring into our lives? What do you guys think? That's the thing. Like, again, sort of this allowing sort of the ebb and flow, understanding that maybe if we're coming from different perspectives, it doesn't mean that we can't integrate. It doesn't mean that we can't communicate or find some kind of moderate common ground. That can be difficult sometimes. Or way earlier today, we were talking about sort of things swinging to extremes. And a lot of times that can happen in conflict. So both parties sort of have to be willing to come to that center place. But if we can find that compromise, then things start to move a little easier. And there's still room for some differences on each side, right? So we have the different coloration between the cups, but yet they're still able to flow back and forth. Okama says, reminds me of the cat in the hat. Look at me now. It's fun to have fun, but you have to know how. That's true. Okay, Dr. Seuss. Let's see, does anybody else have any answers to this particular question? I see we're talking about StreamYard, Emily going live. Any other thoughts? Chris and Louise, what do you think? Do you feel like this gives you any kind of direction on this particular question? The other thing I would say is I'm kind of talking about sort of how to manage the conflict itself, but how to manage the stress and the strain. Maybe that's also by recognizing that you can't spend all of your time in it. You can't be 100% focused on that. That needs to be balanced out with some self-care, right? So making sure that you're taking care of your needs, that you're kind of grounded on the earth, right? And you're not just diving into the emotional waters. So you need to make sure that you have that ability to sort of come at it from a place where you are taking care of yourself so that you can better meet somebody in the middle, I think is important. Let's see what you guys think here, though. So Aaron said, the angel as a divine messenger could be reminding us of a higher good above what's swirling around in all of our individual cups/hearts, right? Chris says, the rainbow, the beautiful meeting of rain, sun, and air. When we think compromise, we often think it's a shitty thing, but sometimes it can be more beautiful than the two separate entities, right? Sometimes the sum is greater than, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Sum of the parts is greater than the whole. I might get that backwards. Kristen says, don't be the in-between between warring parties. Yeah, don't do that. Don't interrupt the flow of the stream. That could be, that could be a dangerous place to be. Lily says, be anchored and let the others react on their side. Oklahoma says, we have to accept that conflict is a part of life. We can make it stressful if we choose, right? Donna says, rise above the fray. Yeah, I think Simon had said he was looking for that second edition of the Daniloff. Sorry, I don't mean to be bouncing back and forth with the chat there. And then Emily says, I think yes, absolutely for this question. It's definitely about finding that space in between all the thoughts. Often we think too hard on something. It doesn't make any sense. But if we allow ourselves, I think there's more coming. Okuma says, you have a right to your opinion within a conflict. True. Yeah, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Thank you. Thank you for setting me straight on that, Erin. And I'm not sure if Emily is still typing, but I want to get to our last deck because we still have to cover reversals quickly. So be thinking about that in the back of your head. Now, this last one, sometimes people like the card that I pull out of this deck and sometimes we don't. So we'll see how we do today. This is the Wizard's Tarot by Barbara Moore. This was actually gifted to me back in the day by Barbara when she saw me looking forward to this deck before it came out. Now, I have some mixed feelings on it, but sometimes there are some good cards in here. So we will see. But it's, yeah, it's got its things. But it's still in rotation, so we'll go ahead and pull it out. Oh, this one's kind of fun. I think this is a fun depiction of this card. Okay, Emily had finished up with time to decompress. We can actually process and integrate what we need to know in time as we do other things. Yeah, don't cross the streams. It would be bad from Ghostbusters. And then Oklahoma says, yeah, depending on how you present your standpoint can minimize the stress and the strain, right? Sometimes we can make things more difficult and sometimes we can help to calm things down. The backs on these are kind of crazy, I feel like. We got this dragon wrapped around a crystal kind of thing happening here. Like, that's a lot. But here is the Temperance card from the Wizard's Tarot here. Let's see if we can get her up close for you. I love like the lemniscate magical thing happening here. I think that's really cool. She does have the symbol on her chest there, wearing it on a necklace. We have a silver goblet and a gold goblet. Oh, we do still have the sun symbol there on her witchy hat, which is kind of cool. And I love that we have like knowledge, all these books in the background, which I think is kind of cool. So we don't see the land and the water. I'm trying to see what our feet are doing here, but we see all these books. So what do we think about that? Now we might have some answers still from the last one. Temperance, the peacekeeper. The intercessor, subtle change, either or situations. Be kind, be human, all things pass. Patrice had said it may help to remember that this too shall pass. A temperance message for Kristen's question. Emily loves the backs. I don't know. It's just a little fantasy art for me, but I can totally see why some would. And then there's Elle, who does not love this deck. Is it a cornucopia or a sorting hat? Yeah, yes, whatever you see in the card. Interesting, only the female aspect of the symbol. Well, no, I don't think so, because we still have the... Oh, I guess you're kind of right. Maybe the square is supposed to be implied because of the shape of the pendant, but you're right, it is not a perfect square, so that might feel a little less balanced. I thought the back was the front for a sec. Yeah, that would be some kind of temperance card, wouldn't it? But I don't know. I love this. I think this is really cool. Like this really magical energy that's happening when these two things are combined. So rather than pouring directly into one another, they are kind of taking the, I'm trying to make the lemniscate shape with my hand. I'm not sure I'm doing a very good job, but let's see here. Lily says the fluids reversed from the infinity, the aid of transmutation of energies. Now we're stuck on the sorting hat concept of this. All right. Feel free to let me know generic thoughts, but I'm also going to bring Melanie Oak Mama's question here. What do we need to look at for the second half of the year? Ooh. So maybe with this particular card, where do we need to change things up? Where do we need these energies to transmute, to evolve? What do we need to integrate and incorporate in order to bring something new forward, to find a more balanced path, right? Or a more, I keep wanting to say temperate. keep wanting to say temperate path. Emily says, I love the dragons and the books and the theme, but the illustrations of the people are also model-like and not diverse at all. Yeah, that is one of the major complaints about the deck. Am I buffering? Am I buffering for anyone else? Okay, I'm glad I didn't go away for very long. We need to get our witches' hats out. Okay, glad I'm not buffering for anyone else. So what do we need to look at for the second half of the year? Maybe too, this is going to be about the change, right? As things are changing kind of worldwide with the pandemic, things are opening up. We're all integrating back out into the world. So being able to kind of all mix back together, not so much self-isolation, right? We want to make sure we do that in a really moderated and balanced way so that things don't heat up again, right? Let's see. Lily says it's a symbol of the magician, the potential for transformation, and the infinity of the strength. Yes. Ancient Voices, hi, by the way, says, hold on to our hats. You know, it always makes me think of is it in Jurassic Park when he's like, hold on to your butts? That's the voice I hear when you say that. Any other thoughts on this? Did anybody else answer Oak Mama, or is it just my ramblings here? Oh, Erin had said when you juggle, each ball creates a lemniscate shape in the air. That's true. Although I don't know how to juggle. And if I tried, I'm not sure it would be good. You've all seen me with the dropsies. Emily says, I think letting ourselves feel into what spirituality is for us, or magic, if that resonates for us. What does it feel like? Taking time to explore. D Lady says, temperance of the combination of the magician and emperor energies. Yeah, Paper Moon Tarot says, that's a good point. We don't want to rush this reemergence and flub it. Exactly, right? So we gotta take our time. Tammy Pie says, finally, silver and gold. Yeah, I love the mix of that with these two cups. I feel like we saw that in one of the other ones. Oh, we did. In the textured tarot, the cups were silver and gold as well, which I thought were cool. Apparently my camera doesn't want to focus, but hopefully you got the idea. And they said, take time to deepen our practice in our own way. Donna says, reintegrating into society based on facts, science, knowledge. The books, not emotions. Ooh, that's a good spot there. I like that. And then Spirit Healing Tarot says, work with your magic. Feel free to keep the answers coming. However, let's go ahead and quickly also see what you guys think about this card when it's in a reversed position. Now, if you don't read reversals, which I think a lot of us don't, we still might find this card in a blocked or challenged position, a what not to do position. What are the shadowy sides of the card? Or when we see this in reverse, what are maybe the blocking energies? And it's really easy for me to kind of go straight to the, okay, it's more of a struggle to find that balance. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but it can mean that we have to work that much harder to get there, right? Or maybe we are not being very balanced at all, and we're not incorporating the energies in a way that leads to something positive. Like we're about to explode things in the chemistry lab, if you know what I mean. All right, let me see what you guys were saying here before. So Neem said, I'm hot gravated. Oh gosh, 94 degrees. Thanks for being here, Neem, though. I appreciate it. Ogmama says, maybe we've spent time gathering our resources and now it's time to manifest what we want to see in the second half of the year. So answering that question. Ooh, I like that. And Tammy Pie said, focus on temperance, alchemy, science, creative endeavors. Yes. And then Emily says, an ability to see through where we are or our own opinions, resistance to dealing with shadows or pain or fear or trauma. So here with the reversal, Scorpio Moon Spirit says the water looks like it is falling to the ground, spilled emotions, right? So this is where emotions can overtake and we kind of lose the ability to be temperate and moderate in how we're approaching the situation. Paper Moon Tarot says blocking the flow between the two cups, disconnects. Yes. Oak Mama, reversed, imbalance, excess, lack of long-term vision. Oh, that's interesting too. Chris says temperance links to Sagittarius and can be about optimistic exploration. After the first half of the year, we should be optimistic and move forward, albeit cautiously, out of world lockdown. So answering Patrice's question from before. Was it Patrice's? No, Oak Mama's, sorry. Reversed, conflict of interest. Oh yeah, true, right? Like not being able to be impartial at times when we need to, maybe being a little bit biased or having an interest where maybe we can't be objective. Lily says, I see the 4 elements by colors. So does it stand out more when we reverse the card? Do you see those elements more strongly? That's interesting. Donna says, going to extremes. Yes, feel free to keep those coming. But in the meantime, I keep saying that. In the meantime, I'm going to give you our tarot playdate activity that you can use this week to connect with this card. I will post the activity in the description box below this video. I'll also post it in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group, and I will post it on Instagram, something new that I've been doing for the last month or two. All right. This particular activity is called Tarot Alchemy. Oh, we're going to get creative here. You'll need at least 2 tarot decks for this activity. Preferably decks that have opposing energies or characteristics, like cute and twisty, light or dark, black and white versus bright colors, right? So thinking about 2 things that we maybe would want to balance. Now do a reading where you either shuffle the cards together, if they're the same size, which might be tricky, or you deal an equal number of cards from each deck. How did the reading go? How was the balance between the cards from different decks? So maybe just playing with combining and integrating different cards together from different decks, if you have 2 decks. If you only have 1 deck, maybe thinking about how you can play with combining energies from different archetypes, maybe different suits or things like that. So there's maybe some different ways you can play with that if that's not something that's possible for you. And yes, please feel free to share your favorite temperance cards in the Tarot Playdate Facebook group, or something that maybe brings something interesting and new to the group. Or if you do the activity, let us know how it goes by posting in the group. And yeah, folks, we have made it through Tarot Playdate number 72. He said here, the paradox of contradictions. Was that with the reversal? I love that. The paradox of contradictions. Lily, I'm sorry. I know I was speaking really fast. I will put the activity in the description box below the video, so that will be there when it loads. So you'll be able to come back and read it at a not speedy Jen speaking pace. Sorry about that. And thank you to everyone for being here once again and for making Playdate what it is. I very much appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, rest of your week, and I will see you next week for number 73. All right, my friends, till I see you in the next one, I'm sending you lots of love. Mwah. Bye.